Hey everyone, it's Kevin Jones with Life, Mind, and Money. Today we're going to be discussing the 7 things that kept me broke. And it wasn't until I fixed these that I was able to achieve financial freedom. If you really follow into these and don't make the same mistakes, anything is possible for you. So let's dive in. If you haven't already done so, Life, Mind, and Money is all about personal finance, financial freedom, and getting you through these times. So if you haven't done so, please hit that subscribe button. And don't forget the notification bell as well, so you get future videos. So let's dive into this topic. So the first one is that I financed all of my college education. So I went and got a bachelor's degree. I also have an MBA. But the problem was that I used financial means to finance all of it. And I loaded up a whopper of debt. I know this is the same fact for many of you, whether you're in school or you already have your degrees and you're sitting on a load of college debt. The fact is that I didn't do enough to either work or go get scholarships or some other grant or other means to make sure that I didn't come out of school with so much debt or debt at all. There's countless stories around the country about people having debt beyond their means. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that means you're going to have a big shovel to get out of it. Now, the reality is that all of us had to look at things differently about how we get into college, and that we can't just finance our ways through things. It just doesn't necessarily work. And it means that you're going to be digging out of a massive hole throughout your lifetime just to try to get above ground and onto some kind of financial future. Your net worth will be down in the negatives for a long time, and that certainly was my case. I amassed $62,000 in college debt. But the key here for me was, even though that I put myself in all that debt, I was able to pay off all of that college debt in 16 months. And if you haven't seen my recollection about how I did it, please check out the video above. That was the catalyst for me to kind of achieve my financial dreams and get myself out of debt. So for those who are in college, find ways to get scholarships, work, find a part-time job, and pay off as much of that debt as you can. And make sure that you don't accrue debt as you're going along until you get your degree. For those who already have your college degrees and you're still in debt, find ways to pay it off as fast as possible. It's debt that you just don't want around. So the second thing that kept me broke before I could achieve my financial dreams was that I always consolidated my debt instead of actually paying off. It's a bit of a spin on the first one, but I had debt from credit cards to college debt to some other things that a debt collector called me and said, hey, we can consolidate for you all into one so it'll help you pay it off. Well, at the time it sounded great that I can consolidate all this and pay to one person. But there's one problem with this. Consolidating debt doesn't solve anything. All it does is it puts it in one bucket instead of maybe 5 or 10 buckets. The reality is that if you're not charged up to actually pay down those principals aggressively, then you're still in the same hole and you're going to continue to pay tons of interest that you don't need to be. And that will only make you still broke. So what my point here is that you need to develop a plan to tackle that debt immediately and as fast as possible, or debt will continue to weigh you down and your net worth will never go up. So what I would suggest is use things like the debt snowball. As we talked about previous video before, it's a great methodology for getting out of debt. But there are also other ways to tackling debt. And as long as you're paying above those minimums and really tackling the principal, then you're on your way to financial freedom and getting away from those lien holders, because lien holders will always keep you down and never allow you to send up. So really tackle that debt and do it strategically so that you can achieve your financial dreams. So now, my third thing that kept me broke was I bought a brand new car. So a lot of you are going to probably laugh at this one because I know many of us, we like our cars. And you probably bought a new one off the lot and got some loan of 84 months, or maybe even leased one. Let me tell you, when I bought a brand new car, I was excited because I was young and I wanted a car. Hell, it was only a Honda Civic. I mean, whoop-de-doo. But I wanted it brand new. And boy, did I pay for it. I had it over 60 months on a loan and kept paying that interest. And by the time I finally paid off the car, that car cost me a whole lot more than it actually was worth. Now think about it. Cars depreciate. They don't go up. Unless you're in the luxury car business or some collectors, cars just simply go down, and they go down in the toilet fast. On most cars, when you buy a brand new one, as soon as you step it right off that lot, they drop by 20 to 40% off of value. How would you like that as an investment? You just lose that amount of money quickly. I'd rather put it in the stock market and take my chances. So as you can see, I only buy used cars now going forward. And I only pay cash for them. I don't want interest on a depreciating asset. Why would I want to pay extra money on something that's going to get me nothing in the return? All it does is get me from point A to point B. So just remember, buying new cars just isn't going to do it for you. Hey, if you've got a couple $1,000,000 in the bank, great, go buy that new car. You've earned it. But until you've achieved that point, you want to continue to buy used cars, not new ones, and buy them cheap and get them from point A to point B. Save that cash and buy it. Guarantee you that if you show up with $100 bills to that dealer or some private seller, you're going to get a better deal because they're not going to want somebody walking away with cash in hand. Moving on to my fourth point, and that is using credit cards as my main point of purchase. In my 20s, when I was broke, that is all we did. Every time I made it a purchase, I don't care how small it was, buying a Big Mac, it was swiping the credit card. And that was a mistake. Yeah, we were pretty good at paying off our credit card debt every month, but there was times that we didn't. And it got us in trouble. And that credit card sometimes really started mounting up. You probably have all found yourself in this trap at some point or another. The key here is that you use cash, or in our today's society, use a debit card. A debit card is simply cash in a bank, and it comes straight out. If you heard about our previous video about how the feel of money does feel. You feel something. If you use a credit card swipe, you don't feel a thing. But if you use a debit card or use cash, I can guarantee you it stings because you know that money is gone for that goods or service. And that is why credit cards, you may have them here and there. I'm not going to fight you on that, but it shouldn't be your main point of purchase. If you're going to go out and do any kind of main purchasing, groceries, gas, use a debit card, use cash, because then you know you had the money and now you don't. And you can budget better from that. Using credit cards will keep adding it up, and eventually you'll start seeing that interest accrue. And that is why it will get you in trouble and only keep you broke. So use cash and debit cards from here on forward. Now my fifth thing that kept me broke was I never paid myself first. You're probably wondering, what am I talking about here? And that goes into retirement or any investment. When we want to invest, we want to make sure it happens regularly, dollar cost averaging, keep that thing moving. And the best way to do that is make sure it comes out of your paycheck before you even see it. Allow that money to go right into a 401k or a Roth IRA or what other retirement accounts that you have, but do it out of sight, out of mind. You don't want to see it. Keep paying yourself immediately, and then the rest of your money, that is what you use in your monthly budget. This will build good habits of that. Your retirement accounts will grow exponentially over time because time is the essence here. When you're young and you can pay yourself immediately and upfront, allow that money grow. And over 30, 40 years, who knows how much money you'll have in your account? It could be millions. And I think that's what we're all trying to achieve here. But if you consciously are trying to, I'll put 100 here or put a couple hundred here, and you only do it after the fact that you spent a bunch of money and you're like, oh crap, I don't have any money left, that money will never grow. And it was something that I did in my 20s that really hurt me. Now that we're on autopilot, And that's what you want to be on. Let that money just keep diving in there automatically, and you don't have to think about it. Guarantee you that that money will grow faster than you can ever believe. So make sure that your money is paying you first before you do anything else. So my sixth thing that made me broke was that I made too many big purchases without saving for it first. Think about it. I already talked about a car, didn't save for that. I'm somebody who loves to travel. And maybe you love to travel too. But travel is not cheap anymore. And I guarantee you that when we went out and traveled, it was not even thinking about saving for it. It was just like, let's go have fun. And so we just mounted a credit card of all these debts of foods and airfare and lodging and whoever knows else comes with it. And then we paid for it after the fact. Dave Ramsey always talks about don't let the trip come back with you. Well, it's the truth. If you haven't paid for it already, then it's going to come haunt you afterwards. I hope you enjoyed it, because now you're going to have to deal with the after effects of all that money you accrued that you're going to have to deal with in the debt side. So if you're going to make a big purchase, I don't care if it's a car, a trip, anything that you want to do, make sure you have the money for it, because you don't want to pay interest on these things. Enjoy them, but make sure that you pay for it first, so that that will allow you to stop being broke and continue to ascend northward with your financial goals. All right, we're into my seventh and final thing that kept me broke, that didn't allow me to grow financially future until I started doing this, and that was having an emergency fund. I just didn't build one. In my 20s, it just wasn't a point of concern for us. That I was more interested in using a credit card and having fun and doing all those things as an adult. But the reality is that things will happen, and that when it does happen, using a credit card is not the best solution. The best solution is having cash on hand to take care of it. Whether your car breaks down, or some bill comes in that you weren't expecting, or the furnace blows up, I don't care what it is. But knowing that you have cash on hand, that I do now, thousands of dollars in the bank, I'll make sure that when something does happen, I don't have to worry about it, because I have the cash to take care of it. Honestly, it's just the peace of mind, and that's peace of mind that you want, so that it doesn't take away from your financial future and your financial dreams. It doesn't take away from any of that, so that you can continue on with those goals. And if something happens, great. You got the cash, take care of it, be done with it. But it doesn't take away from your monthly budget and everything else you're doing. That can continue to go on just like as planned. So build that emergency fund early and often and as large as you need it. We've talked about 3 to 6 months is commonplace. And the times we're in today, you may want a little bit more. But that's up to you, and that depends on your job security and the position that you're in today. So these are all my 7 items that kept me broke, that didn't allow me to create financial future, but I fixed all of them, and now my net worth is soaring higher than ever. If you like this video, please smash that like button. Leave your comments below. Are there any things that you would like to do to help you achieve your financial dreams? Did this resonate with you? And lastly, if you haven't done so, please hit that subscribe button as we continue to provide information about personal finance so that you can achieve your financial dreams. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.